All right, welcome back to another edition of the Early Apex. Myself, Dylan here. We've got Rob here.
What's up, guys?
On today's episode, we are going to be talking about the most overlooked modifications in a car. I think we both have a similar taste in our modifications and have gone down the rabbit hole in this way with our cars. I'm going to share a lot of what I've done. Rob, I'm going to have some questions for you about that. After that, we're going to do our classic segment of FMK with a car segment. I'm going to be presenting to Rob a specific segment that I have carefully crafted. I'm very curious to see what your answers are going to be. And we're going to end with Lightning Lap. It wasn't from Auto Trend. Who was that?
That's Road and Track that does
Road and Track.
Lightning
Thank you.
Lap.
I always Auto Trend.
Car and
Auto
Driver.
Trend.
It's Car and Driver.
Car and Driver. Oh my gosh, sorry, Car and Driver. Car and Driver. It's funny that I stumble across this I stumble over this because I feel like they are like the best at doing the Lightning Lap and doing this comparison. So we're going to end with that and talking about how fast cars are getting. And something as silly as a sports crossover is just whooping and embarrassing what I thought were some pretty quick sports cars. So we'll be ending with that on today's episode. Let's get into it.
All right, Dylan, so where are we going with this?
We are going to go and talk about, in my opinion, what the most overlooked modifications are in a car. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, I was a part of a channel. We did a lot of car reviews, and I actually was able to drive, I think, like over 20 cars from random strangers. No, most of the people we knew, but they were like little mini reviews in the car.
Right, a lot of like tuner focus, right? Like JDM stuff, some German.
Yeah. For those of you that aren't aware, it was NAB Motorsports. You can check him out. Stefan's still doing the channel, and it's very Miata-centric. But yeah, I got to drive some really cool stuff. V8 DeLorean to, a 350Z that was track prepped. Just a wide variety of cars. And the common thread among many of them were their touch points. And they just weren't sorted out. And I didn't realize how focused I am about it because I wasn't originally focused about it at all. When I'm sitting there thinking about cars as a kid, I'm not thinking about how does the gas pedal feel? How does the steering wheel feel in my hands? What's the feedback in that wheel? Maybe this is just the result, Rob, of our silly, slow cars, and we don't. They're not fast at all, so I have nothing else to pay attention to other than how everything feels.
When you're just sitting there, seconds between gears, and all you have to think about is like what the texture of your steering wheel is.
Exactly, and yeah, I'll be direct too. It's not so much like the texture or like the feel in the hand, but it's like it's the feedback, right? I recently went ITB last year, and I spent a weekend working on my freaking gas pedal because it was too heavy. And it's just, I wanted that to be the right feel. And it's still a little heavy. But like the clutch, I don't want any play in a clutch. It was just like so many of those cars, you just have like this, 2 inches of depression before it actually, you're doing anything to it. Same with the gas pedal.
You know what? It's really funny you say that because, I'm going to nail you down on a specific part soon.
Ooh,
don't worry,
okay,
I'm nailing you down. But
yeah.
As soon as we started talking about that, I did think about that. But I thought the details, right?
Yeah.
I get to drive a lot of different cars in my job, and oftentimes it's a customer's car that they've modified, right? And sometimes really heavily modified cars, and I'll get in them, and it's like, has an incredible body kit, a really expensive suspension, built motor, etc. But then the clutch pedal, like you're saying, like has play,
feels like dog shit.
Yeah, I drove a 993 with a full like RSR body kit conversion. It's like it's a $200,000 car, $100,000 of work in it, and the clutch has like 2 inches of like dead space that you have to press before you actually like get to the hydraulic part, or depressing the clutch, and I was like, you think you spend all this money and you're gonna fix those little things, and those little things are like screwing up the driving experience for me, you know, when you hop in it. And the same with like a sloppy shifter or you know, some play in the steering, or just even like a bad alignment, you know, like if you haven't done the alignment while in your car, go check out the alignment. Because that, I mean, it totally changes the car. You can make a great car a terrible car.
This is 100% because we own Miatas and they're slow.
Yeah.
But no. So you're nailing me down on exactly what I'm talking about.
All right. What is the one part? What is the part? You said, right?
If I had to choose a part, it's a steering wheel, and it's not for the reason why I bought a steering wheel in the first place, which was because the OEM steering wheel from a Miata is terrible. It's this giant rectangle. It's super ugly. It's too big. I'm fun sized and I'm still hitting my knees on it. Like, it's terrible. You got to get rid of it. But after I got a steering wheel, like, I started realizing, man, it's not right. It's a little too thick. It's just a little too small. Like, I became more in tune with what it actually feels like in my hand. So then I bought a different steering wheel, which is now behind me, and it was too big. I went back to too big of a diameter. It was hitting my knees. It was the right thickness in diameter there. It was
sounds like a fairy tale story right here. You know, the one's a little too big, one's a little too small.
100%. I am... I need to find that porridge that's the perfect temperature, and I've yet to do it. I went back to the porridge that was a little too hot, but I'm dealing with it. It's all good. But yeah, I think everyone wants a steering wheel because of the looks, and they look awesome. I'm really happy with how mine looks. But yeah, I think you can change so much of your experience because it's always something you're in contact with 100% of the time. I mean, it should be, at least, right?
Yeah. You know, I think in a lot of ways I'm going to agree on that one is the steering wheel. I remember putting, like, the first time I put a different steering wheel on a car that I was driving with the stock wheel, and it really changes the character because it's every piece, right? It's every time you drive it, you're touching it the whole time, hopefully.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. In an ideal state. If you're not, I have more questions for you. But yeah,
you're looking at it the whole time too. I mean, it's right in front of you. You're looking at it. You're touching it the whole time. You're using it to drive the car. Like, it is so important. And putting that wheel in that car, like, it made the driving experience different. Like, it made it more special every time I got in it because I was like,
it's faster now. Trust
absolutely.
me. It's faster now.
This is a car for driving fast. Yes.
And then, secondary would be your other touch points. So we've already mentioned it, but your pedals, you know, the same kind of slop can be in a brake pedal. You know, having for a Miata, I'm sure a lot of other cars suffer with this too. Miatas are old Japanese cars. They have a lot of flex everywhere, including the firewall. So if you don't have that bracing behind it, especially in like a track situation, it can feel mushy just because of the firewall flex. And I didn't believe it myself at first, but then I saw it when a friend of mine, Stefan, was like depressing my pedal, and I'm seeing my entire firewall move like millimeters. I'm just like, okay. So yeah, you got your pedals, your steering wheel, your shifter. Us Miata guys, we have a good shifter feel because of Mazda. Thank you, Mazda. Out of the box, so we don't have to really do too much there. And yeah, I think those are the inputs. Something else too about steering. This is not so much the wheel itself, but like I had in my previous setup, oversized like balloon tires on somewhat more narrow wheels because I'm old. I'm an old soul.
You know, I was just about to go to tires. Yeah. Yeah. I think I know where you're going with this.
I want that sharp turn in. I want my steering wheel to do exactly what I tell it to do 100% of the time, and I'll maybe almost like to a hyper extent, like a hyper focused extent. And that look was cool and retro and awesome, but it did make for a great turn in feel, and I'm hoping to claw some of that back.
I think, I think a lot of people are getting it these days, whereas like 5-10 years ago, it was this like, more track focused in the no thing, but just tires. Good tires on a car are probably the most important upgrade. You know,
so that would be yours. Yeah. So yours would be tires.
I think it might be tires. I think tires are, yeah, absolutely. Tires can make or break a car.
I feel like people saying this, it's like your parents telling you to brush your teeth. Like, you don't really want to hear it because there's nothing exciting about tires.
Absolutely.
But But you got to keep your teeth healthy, man. You got to brush your teeth.
I have such a distinct memory of the first Miata I had, you know, and I had a few cars before that, and I'd drive them fast and I'd crash them and be an idiot. And I was like 18 years old. But my first Miata, it came with 200 treadwear tires, big fat 200 treadwear tires. And I'd never experienced like that much handling capability, that many G's on a turn. And like, you know, I was like starting to learn the limits of the car. Eventually I crashed that car, but I still had the wheels and tires, and I sold them to a buddy of mine. And I was already like, this is insane. Like, this is incredible. And he was like, dude, I don't know how you're doing that. And so he ends up buying a Miata, and he's like, oh, let me buy those off you. And he gets them, and he's like, holy crap, dude. He's like, I didn't even think this was like possible.
No,
I didn't think this was possible. And so it was like, after that, we were both like, you know, young converts to the old wisdom that is like good tires, like totally will change a car.
I will say this, and maybe this is a future topic. I think sticky tires are overrated. I think sticky tires are not fun.
You're talking about too sticky. You're talking about
they're too sticky. And again, maybe this is just a result of our really slow cars. But for this street, you know, I have a set of 200 treadwear RS4s, and I think they're 200 treadwear, and they're great on the track. They're they last forever. That's why I got them, and they're the do everything tire. But I can't have fun on the street with them. Yes, I can drive recklessly with reckless abandonment and go really like too fast in the street around turns and stuff. But even then, it's just sticking to the road. I want the car to move around a little bit without having to drive like a maniac on the street. Yeah. So I think I might, get another set of wheels and have some hard tires for this street. But we'll put that aside.
Right. I think that's where we're going. Time. I think we're going there later as well. We're going to revisit this for sure.
A hot take for another day.
Yeah. We'll get back on that. We'll get back on that idea. For sure. So driver inputs, right? I mean, that's where we got on this one. Yeah. It's the inputs. People, pay attention to the details. I think that's what we're saying. It's rewarding. It's rewarding.
Exactly. So what other modifications do often get overlooked? Maybe you don't care about your dog shit freaking clutch pedal and you care more about something else. Let us know down below. Maybe
it's all superchargers, baby.
It's yes,
superchargers and nitrous. Let's fucking make some power. Come on.
Are the future. Yeah,
we're a bunch of weenies.
And what we missed on this segment.
So next up, we've got the now classic, already classic, FMK section. Fuck, marry, kill. And this time, Dylan is giving me 3 cars. He said they're on a theme. And I think he's really trying to stump me this time. Give me something like tough. Give me just a bunch of like 3 kills. And I've just got to make the tough call on this one. So
how did you know? How did you know?
I don't want anything to do with any of these. Please.
Absolutely. I'm making it really hard for all the wrong reasons.
All right. Give them to me. And Dylan's going to send me, this time we're sending photos. So Dylan's going to send me 3 photos. So I've got the exact car in sight.
Yes. So,
and we will show you guys as well.
Before I share anything with you, the segment is retro futuristic.
Okay. Retro futuristic.
But it was a lot of companies' first take on it because, yes, it became a segment in like muscle cars.
What's that one with the hydraulic suspension made by the French company? What was that? The I've already got that in my head.
This is deep cuts. I don't know. I'm not familiar
We'll
with
come
that.
back to that when my brain starts
circle
working.
back.
All right. So
So
retro futuristic.
These were the early takes in the early thousands, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had the Ford Thunderbird. So I just sent you a photo of a 2004 red Ford Thunderbird.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you might know where we're going with this. So we've got that.
Oh, my
Then we have a 2003 Chevy SSR
SSR. Yep.
in yellow.
Ooh.
Absolutely. I believe that was its launch color.
Is this the SRT or is this just like a straight auto SSR? Let's take
Just
a look.
an auto SSR. I believe all three of these cars are in auto.
Okay.
And then the last, which I think kind of kicked off the segment, is a 99 Plymouth Prowler. In, of course, purple.
The Plymouth Prowler. All right, so this is a segment that's close to my heart because I grew
Really?
up. My mom in 2003 got in that same exact purple, a PT Cruiser.
Oh!
She got a purple PT Cruiser, and that was like the first car I had to drive around.
It's funny that you say PT Cruiser because for a while, so I came up with two cars quickly.
Yeah.
The Prowler and the SSR, and I was considering throwing in the. I was considering throwing that in, but then like throwing in on top of like $20,000 cash. If if you were to kill it, it'd be like, yeah, you'd have to like burn.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of like that
That.
almost. I kind of like that flexibility there because that's what it would take. All right.
I was thinking about the PT Cruiser, but I didn't go with the PT Cruiser.
I
went
don't
with the Ford
hate
Thunderbird.
the PT. I mean, it's a hideous car. It's a terrible, hideous car. It's a terrible
can agree.
product from a terrible time in Chrysler. It's bad, right?
But you have a soft spot.
But
for
it was fun. It was fun, and you know what? I'd like when you neutral dropped it, you could feel the engine like come into its power band, like VTEC, from like absolutely no power to like the hint that you're accelerating, and it had some character. I will say that thing had some character. All right, so
yeah.
back to these beauties.
Okay, back to the Thunderbird,
Prowler,
SSR. Prowler.
What engine does the SSR have in it? That would have been
It
like
has
a
an LS.
That has an
It has-
LS?
That has an LS.
That has an LS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does have an
And
LS.
the Thunderbird.
And I have no idea what.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea what engine is.
I don't
in
want
that.
it. I don't need to know. I don't need to know.
Oh my goodness.
First up, we're killing the Thunderbird.
Okay.
The Thunderbird is possibly not just what I hate about cars.
Even though it was in James Bond, even though Halle Berry drove that car, I mean, come on.
Which one was that?
Iconic.
What era is that? Oh, that would have been the
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan era.
I think it was his last, or maybe second last. Tomorrow Never
I
Dies.
do
or
like
something.
Pierce, but God, that's a terrible
Die
car.
Another Day. I don't remember. Which
Even
one. It's the
Halle
one where
Berry
he's-
couldn't make that car attractive. If that car was given to me with Halle Berry, I still wouldn't want it.
Okay. Touche.
That car represents not everything I don't like about like cars, but just like life in general. It's like you got old and you're gonna, go crazy, get something nice for yourself, and instead you got the most bland, boring thing you possibly could. It's just like hideous.
It's all the wrong nostalgia for the boomer generation.
It would have been cooler if you got an Accord Coupe. Like that would be better in every way for me. It would look better. It would perform better. It would be more reliable. Anyway,
So you're killing it dead.
We're killing the Thunderbird. I'm done
Thunderbird
with it.
is killed dead.
This
All right.
this is where I don't know. All right, I've just decided.
Just decided.
They both are equally kind of horrible, but the yellow SSR, although I do find it interesting.
Yeah.
I believe they had an SRT version of this. It's not the SRT, and I think I would just be incredible. Like there aren't any upsides of stepping out of this car and just being seen in this car, and it's a convertible, mind you. Everyone,
Oh, yeah.
the SSR is a convertible.
It's a convertible.
So if I have to be
truck?
seen in something, I want it to be the Prowler. because the Prowler is so insane. It's just so like just bananas that it's like, you know, even if you think it's totally hideous, which I think it is, but it's still just so wild that you're like, that guy's got balls. Like that guy is driving that insane car around. He's got to know something I don't know to be driving that. And I do recall from like Hoovie's Garage or something that the Prowler has like some really incredible like, you know, engineering into it. Like it was a full like aluminum like unibody or space frame or whatever. So it's got some like really modern kind of supercar tech into it. It's just that they put it with a shit engine. They put like the V6 in it with an auto, and you couldn't get an 8. But I digress. It's gonna be I'm gonna marry the Prowler just because I want that insanity every day. And I'm just gonna blow up the tires on the SSR. I'm just gonna do some sweet donuts and just light it up.
Hell yeah,
and
brother.
Just use that LS for what God intended.
I like it. And I honestly, I was the one that put this together. I don't know what I would choose.
Where are you at? Where are you at with these?
Other than, I would agree with you for sure on the Prowler because it's aged really well, I think. Of the three. I shouldn't say it's aged really well. Take it out of context, that's terrible. Of the three, it's aged the best, I think. That car is also really cool to see in person because it has exposed suspension, right?
Yeah.
It's not fully exposed, but like there are some really interesting things
in some
when
ways
you walk around that car.
It's a Caterham.
Yeah.
In some ways it's a Caterham or even an F1 car.
Wait a second. Time out. You mean Caterham? Caterham?
Caterham. It's a Caterham.
Tomato, Caterham, Caterham. I don't know. Whatever the Brits say.
Right, you'll have to give me some lessons later on proper pronunciation.
I
should be ashamed. I'm a British citizen. I should be absolutely ashamed.
I'll call my UK connection after this to get the DL on Caterham or Caterham.
We're gonna need a phone in. We'll get a phone in from my mom from England.
But no, I would definitely pick the Prowler. And I have a soft spot for Ford, but I think I'd probably end up destroying that car in the end. If only for the fact to say that in my lifetime I've driven a convertible pickup truck, I would drive the SSR. There's nothing I'm checking off the box when I drive the Thunderbird.
No.
Other than the fact that I just wish this was the old Thunderbird. Whereas the SSR, that is a unique experience that you can only have with that car. Boom, there you go. I just made it. It's a unique experience. You can't have it with any other car. It's a convertible pickup truck. What?
It is definitely a unique experience. It is definitely.
Boom. We're good.
Boom.
So what would you choose of the three? Did we get it wrong? We agreed, but maybe you have a different opinion. Let us know down below. Let us know in the comments. What
do you guys all hate the Thunderbird as much as I do? Because I want to know. I want to know actually if you don't hate it because it's.
I definitely don't have the vitriol that you do for it, but
it is
in the
vitriol.
End,
it's
you have disdain.
When I see one on the road, I'm like throwing like shit out out the window, trying to just take this thing, just put it out of its misery.
Ruined. Your day's been ruined. You see a Thunderbird, your day has been ruined. Understood. Yeah, I don't have that same reaction, but I would still kill it. Absolutely, it'd still be dead.
I think now it's time to come full circle back to what we were saying earlier. And Dylan, you're talking about how sticky tires just like aren't fun. You know, when you can't slide the car around, you can't move the car around on your average street, on your average B road, as they'd say, over the pond. It's just it's not as an enjoyable experience. And that got me thinking about the lightning lap results from Car and Driver. So they just released this early last month. And you know, Car and Driver has been doing their lightning lap test since 2006. And what they do is, for anyone who doesn't know, it is where they take they pick a dozen different high performance cars and they go lap them around Virginia International Raceway, VIR, and just see what kind of times they get. You know, what are these like street cars? What can they put down on the track? And since they've been doing it since 2006, it's an awesome benchmark to kind of see like the progression of cars throughout the years. And I'm reading through it. I'm just like looking at all the new hot cars. You know, what did the Z06 do, et cetera. And then I'm like, you know, where'd we come from? Because I know, you know, cars are getting stupid fast. You know, you can go and walk out of your average Chevy dealership with a 700 horsepower car. So this one really hit. This one hit hard in 2006.
Which one hit hard for you? Because I saw this. We saw this in different ways. I saw this on YouTube. I didn't read the article. I don't read because I'm dysfunctional. I need to see it to believe it. No, I'm not much of a reader myself. But one thing did stick out to me. Well, what stuck out to you most?
Okay, so for me, when I was looking at 2006, they had the Ford GT, right? So old school Ford GT or the medium old Ford GT, right?
The first new one. Yeah.
Right. So 2006, supercharged V8, like 550 horsepower, I think, mid-engine. I mean, it's a supercar. Mm-hmm. So that car ran just about a 3 flat. It was like a 300 at VIR.
Okay. 3 minutes.
3 minutes flat.
Got it.
2006. 2023, the new Civic Type R, you know, front wheel drive car, 315 horsepower. So it's down over 200 horsepower. That and also, right, the Ford GT even back then was like 250K. I mean, now they're $1 million, but 250K back then. The CTR now is like 50 grand. It ran a 2058.8. So it was almost 2 seconds faster.
So 2 minutes and 58 seconds is what you're saying.
Yeah. Versus the 3 minute, it was a 3 points, 300.7.
Three dead.
So basically 2 seconds difference between a Ford GT and a Civic Type R. And that is incredible. I mean, that is absolutely insane. You know, that a grocery getter, a front wheel drive too, not even all wheel drive, front wheel drive grocery getter is faster than a mid-engine 500 horsepower supercar from not even 20 years ago, 17 years ago.
That is incredible. And what stuck out to me was a little different, and I'll bench that. I'll table that for a moment.
Yeah. Where are you going with it? What are you thinking?
But I see where you're going with this because it's like, well, what would that Ford GT with no differences with a tire of today, what would it do?
Yeah.
Are the 2 seconds in the tire tech? It could be.
I mean, now, it would need 20 seconds to redeem itself.
That's exactly where I was about to say. Now, maybe it's, maybe there's 5 seconds.
I have no doubt that a set of the same Cup 2s, that because the CTR was on Cup 2s, right? Because you can freaking get Cup 2s on a Civic now.
Yeah.
The Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, which is like what you would get on a GT3 or any supercar. That's what the CTR has. I'm sure those tires on that Ford GT on that same day would have given it 5 seconds, maybe even more.
Regardless of that, they're still like really close, which is the point, right?
Right.
I am curious about the actual like data on that, but regardless of the tire tech aside, the Civic's super fast, and what I was taken away from it wasn't so much like the difference between like older supercars. It was like within the segment, and that not the segment, but within the test from this year. Mm-hmm. So the first car they had in the video, they went slowest to fastest. The first car was a WRX, and it was 3 seconds faster than last year.
Yeah,
and which is shocking because it's not like any more powerful. It was like all in chassis and suspension. And
I was surprised to see that with all like the whining that the community's done about WRX. Yeah.
So I was really surprised by that. Now it lost out to the GTI and whatnot. So whatever. It's not really just a track-focused car, neither is GTI, yada, yada, yada. But they also had, in the Lightning Lap, they had a crossover, all right? They had and it wasn't last. In fact, it beat the WRX by like 6 seconds. I want to say
The
it was like
Kona
5 or
N.
6. The Kona
Stealing
N.
your thunder.
Like what? What? When that car came out, I like Hyundai. I don't own one like you, but when that car came out and it was an N, I'm just like, what are they doing? They made a fast crossover. Like, good on them. I have to have some level of respect because it spanked the WRX and the GTI.
What you're missing is the N cars are incredible. And I'm totally biased. I own a Veloster N, and I'm totally sold on it. But Albert Bierman, who Hyundai stole from BMW from their M division, just like has done amazing things because
who's like the lead developer of these cars.
The freaking Kona N, which is a crossover. I mean, it's a sedan. It's a lifted sedan, but Kona N crossover, front wheel drive. Whooped the WRX.
Whooped it. This is a tall, crossover, whatever, a raised hatchback, higher center of gravity.
Hideous, absolutely
automatic.
Hideous.
Yeah, and it's got overboost, and it delivers. It absolutely delivers. It even beat the Elantra N. And there was some situation with the tires. They only had one set of tires, the Elantra N. They think that they would have closed the gap between the two of them, yada, yada, yada. But both N cars, they put the hurt on the rest of the early pack there.
No, it's incredible. It's nuts, honestly. That's the world we live in. Fast crossovers,
man. Fast soccer moms. Got to hide your sports cars. Fast soccer moms are going to be passing you at the red light. They're going to be taking off. They're going to have a better 60-foot than you. Deal with it.
In my Miata, I don't race minivans, That is I don't screw with that.
See, that's that's why my Miata is no longer turboed. Because I realized how much faster regular traffic's gotten over the past decade. I'm like, 10 years ago, this was a pretty quick car. 250 horsepower Miata, whatever. You're still slow. Sorry, everyone who's like turboed their stock bottom end Miata. It's still slow.
just to talk about ourselves and our own cars a little more.
Absolutely.
I was at a Cars and Coffee with a Miata Cars and Coffee in my car, and I have a Miata with a K swap. It makes like 200 wheel horsepower. It is not fast by today's standards. And I'm just like talking to some guys interested in it, and he's like, "Oh, what do you think it runs in the quarter?" And I was like, "Oh, probably like a mid 13, like something around there."
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty fast." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's like daily traffic would beat that, but no, it's quick." And he's like, "No." Mid 13s are fast. People don't get it. That's fast." And I was like, "You know what? It is fast. It's fast. My car's fast." And it's and that's I think that's sort of what I'm getting at with the whole intro with the 2006 Ford GT and the CTR. Cars are stupid fast now, like faster than 99% of people know what to do with or will ever use, Yeah. I mean, the amount of people who buy a Cayenne Turbo and probably have never floored it and never will because that car runs like an 11 in the quarter. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody needs that. That. And no one's going to use it. But the other thing is, it is hard to use it on the street. Like, it's hard to go on the street and actually like take any of these cars near their limit. And when you're in a car with so much capability and you're just pussyfooting around, it like that's not fun. I want to take a car. I want to take a car and they're in limit. Like it's fun once you start sliding. Once you can feel the car moving around and like you're shifting the weight around. Like
as
that's
long as you're
fun.
not on Tail of the Dragon, and then I have to clean my seat because I just shat myself. I had my first year at Tail of the Dragon. I did have my tires overheat, I think, or I just am terrible at driving.
I have absolutely like scrubbed my tires at Tail of the Dragon. I've gotten them greasy. Yeah. I've got my front tires greasy many times.
I had Yokohama AO52s and the rears got greasy and it just like let go. It wasn't a huge moment.
You got the rears greasy.
I got the rears greasy.
That's impressive.
And it like let go at a point that I was not expecting it, and that was the rest of that day done.
Was that the day you followed me? Me and Francisco?
No.
For everyone else,
No.
Tail
Yeah.
the Dragon is
What is
this
some context to
crazy mountain road that's basically 13 miles of autocross, and it is insanely tight. It's like a
It
second gear
100%
road.
Is that. It's 100% 13 miles.
Yeah, it's 13 miles
It's
autocross. It
100%
is. You don't get it.
what
You
it
do
is.
not get out of second gear. Maybe
Yeah.
you could get to 80 on the road. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
but it's insane. It's a lot of fun, especially in slow little Miatas.
We'll have to have a segment on like the best driving road we've been
Oh,
on, which is that road.
Well,
and it's
yeah,
actually how
it's
we
that
met.
road. No, you know what? Well, it's not that road for me, but it's other roads near there. But we
definitely
that
have
is
to have
the
the segment then, because that's like those are the best driving roads that I've been on, and if it's not for you, then I really need to we need to talk about
This will
that.
be
So
the
table that.
Northeasterners driving roads.
Yeah. Well, that's always on the top in the country, to be fair. And for those of you that don't know, what this is on the Tennessee-North Carolina border.
Yeah.
It's like a specific gap road. Deals Gap is another name for it. And it's
Where that
always in,
Harrison
like,
Ford movie was shot at the dam there. Was that Fugitive or something like that?
Oh,
It was shot at the dam. It's like the tallest dam on the East Coast, I think. Second only
man.
to Hoover. I
I'm
think.
gonna have to rewatch that.
Anyway,
now.
I think I need to now too. But you know what? This summer I'm going to California. I'm driving those roads out there, so then I can come back and I'll give you the definitive answer.
Well, I have driven Snake Canyon before,
Oh.
totally accidentally, on a bike first, on not a motorcycle bike, on my bicycle bike, and luckily I hit it at a time that wasn't crazy, or else I'd be dead. I wouldn't have like lived to tell the tale because of the crazy shit people do on that road. But then I later went back to California, rented a Fiat 500 Abarth, and hit that road. And there's some good stuff out there.
500 Abarth is a nice car to hit out there.
I didn't know what it meant to have an Italian or to drive an Italian car until I drove that car. That was so much fun. I don't want to own one because I'm sure it doesn't run for shit in the long term, but it was so much fun. It had like a crackle tune before crackle tunes were cool.
Yep.
It doesn't have a muffler. And I'm driving down, Ocean Avenue. I click a button and everyone's looking at me, not the Lambro that like is driving by the other way. Like everyone's like, what the hell is this little like black egg burping
black
down
egg
the street
just
doing?
shooting at me?
What's this idiot driving around crackling everywhere? This egg of a car. But anyway, to bring it full circle, I'll let you summarize this up. Lightning lap. It's just crazy how far.
Shit's too fast. Shit's too fast.
It's too fast.
Shit's too fast.
Tell us
You
if
can't
we're
use it on
wrong
the
in the
street.
comments below. Is shit not fast enough? Is the Tesla Model S? Is that the it's called? Model S? Yeah. Is it just not fast enough?
The Plaid. There we go.
The Plaid's
That's
the
the
fastest
fast
one. Yeah, that's the fast one. Do you just have a need for speed? Do you just need to be Tom Cruise's co-pilot on a daily basis?
This is the Tom Cruise experience we're living in because it is just the adrenaline always.
Always.
Yeah, that is the speed we're dealing with now in anything.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks for listening. If you're an adrenaline junkie, more than us, more power to you. But stay tuned. This is just our second episode. We're getting launched. The Early Apex is coming to a content distributor near you.
That's right. That's right, guys. And if you want to see our hideous faces, you can check us out on YouTube. But of course, you got Spotify, Apple, and all the rest. So
Listen to us on podcasts or on YouTube if you dare see us and what we look like.
and hopefully we'll figure out something more interesting to talk about. Hopefully.
Yeah, if you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, we're always open to suggestions. Comment them down below. We read all of them and are always open to more ideas. So thanks.
Hell yeah. Till next time, guys.
See ya.